Where my KOMers at? All right, we've got a fun segment today. It's on the Santa Ana River Trail going from Waterman in San Bernardino to Arlington in Norco. And so this segment, so that's a 20-mile trail actually, and this segment is at the very end. Okay, so it's the last 0.4 miles of the trail, and it's got a good little kick at the end. So I really like and enjoy this segment. I like hitting it hard every time. So I think you're really going to enjoy it if you come out and give it a shot. But the whole trail is a pretty good ride. There are sections of the trail that have kind of a lot of homeless, but the city's actually cleaned that up pretty good, pretty decent actually. So anyway, if you wanted to start at Waterman, you could make this a fun little 40-mile bike ride. And it's mostly flat, but the first 10 miles from Waterman to Riverside is actually a little bit downhill, which means that you have a 10-mile climb out of there at the end. So let's take a look at our leaderboard. So at the top we have Chris DeMarkey, and he did it in 48 seconds. I guess a couple of people did it in 48 seconds. Heath M. and also Josh Tutel. And so I do know Josh, I don't know the other two, but 48 seconds, that's pretty darn fast. So I'm actually going to pull up Chris DeMarkey's ride, where he got the KOM here. Okay, I want to see what his stats are. Alright, there it is. So it looks like on this ride, he did the climb back to the parking lot, pushing 612 watts for that 48 seconds. So that puts it into perspective for me, because I know that if I want the KOM, I need probably at least 612 watts. And depending on how heavy he is versus how heavy I am, and also depending on the wind conditions, that's all going to play a role into how far those watts take me. Now we are approaching the start of the segment here. I'm going to go around a turn right up here, and then it's going to turn a second time, and that first turn is actually where it starts. There are other segments that start on the second turn, but I'm focused on this one right here. And we're off. Okay, so this is the start of the climb. Although it's at 0% right now, you'll see that I'm curving around these turns, and I'm actually saving my energy for the end. So you really got to know your sprint here, because you need to know how long you could put out your maximum watts. And so I know that I have about a minute, but this climb gets pretty nasty at the end, so I'm really saving my watts for the end. So you can see I'm already up to 600 watts, and so I'm pushing pretty hard. It's 4% right now. I'm maintaining at 745 watts. This e-biker flies right by me, and I might have a little bit of a draft, but not much. You can see that I'm up to 6% right now on the climb, and I was still maintaining 600 watts. I go over the crest at about 350 to 400 watts. And coasting down, I'm actually not coasting, I'm pedaling pretty hard still. And the end is right past this dirt road, and these guys are all in my way. E-biker messing me all up, but I'm sure he only probably cost me about a second or maybe two. So there's my final time. I did it in a minute and 12 seconds. My average watts was 409 for that time, which I know that I could do a little bit more wattage for that time period. I've done 409 for I think like a minute 45 before, so I know I could do more watts on that. But just timing and judging the whole lead-in is a little bit of an art itself, because you don't want to peak too soon, or else you're going to really bog down on that hill. And here I am chilling with my new buddies, and they're actually complimenting me on my sprint up there, because that's a difficult climb, and I flew over that. And so I felt pretty good about it. I felt like I was really flying, and I guess it looked like I was too. So that's our segment for today. It's on the Santa Ana River Trail, and this is the end of the trail from Waterman to Norco. And so it's right there at the end. So I jumped in on this trail actually in the middle of it at mile 10 in Riverside at Bonamino Park. And so at that point there's a clear second start section. And so it was a good place to enter the trail. lots of drinking fountains, bathroom, everything at that park to refill. So I actually use that spot as a midway point on a lot of my rides when I'm headed out in this direction. But the segment is right at the very end of the trail. It goes all the way up to Arlington. And so come out and give it a try. And I know you're going to like this one.